Hello and welcome back, adventurers. Today let's discuss secrets that those misty streets are hiding away from you. In the beginning, there was a bloody, possibly mythical, prehistory of kingdoms at war, which were finally united under the aegis of King Fainur nearly 1,000 years ago. He is credited with founding the city of Paridon, named for his daughter, Parina. A remarkably peaceful monarchy arose that lasted many centuries. There was much intrigue and many accidental deaths, but this conflict never erupted into overt civil strife. Instead, the royal's reign reached its end in 546, following the Great Fire of Paridon. The exact cause of the Great Fire is unknown. It originated within the docks, where warehouses of oil, hemp, coal, and imported spirits set off several massive explosions, scattering fiery debris across the entire city. 4/5 of Paridon burned. Houses that weren't incinerated were brought down by the government in an attempt to contain the inferno, before heavy rains brought a close to the catastrophe on the second evening. Amy II, the Virgin Queen and a temple devotee, had unsuccessfully prayed that her father might yet produce a male heir to the throne. Facing the devastation of her capital and pressure from her court, she chose to abdicate, her final royal decree that the nation be henceforth served by its parliament. She ordered that the palace be destroyed and its stones used to build hospitals, offices, and chapels. Today's prominent brick and stone architecture dates from this time. Royal treasures were seized for the government's coffers, and would-be heirs granted plum positions or silenced, according to their popularity. Then Queen Anne stepped into a monastery and out of history. This, however, contradicts a popular theory among scholars that nation's emergence is bound to Bloody Jack and his murder sprees, which date back to 586. Since his first appearance, this sanguinary figure has gripped the Georgian psyche deeply and even eerily. No figure has had so great an impact upon Georgian history, to the extent that people often measure time by his 13-year cycles. There has never been a repetition in his pattern of victims. Prostitutes one cycle, scholars another, shopkeepers a third, nor in his method of dispatching them. None of his attempts have been unsuccessful, no witnesses has caught him in the act. The last 2 cycles since the Great Upheaval have been very unusual, each with the deaths of 11 people, not 6. Some brothers espouse the dynasty theory, suggesting these variants are a sign that Jack's mantle has been passed to a still bloodier killer. Theories tying the higher body count to the upheaval's disruptions also have their advocates. No matter what Bloody Jack may be, however, one terrible event would, in the end, overshadow his crimes. The Great Upheaval began on July 3rd, 740, a great day of heavy rain which kept many citizens within the city walls. Around 10:30 that morning, a heavy fog seemed to descend upon the countryside. Travelers were suddenly unable to leave, and the gates were closed to outgoing traffic. By evening, disgruntlement had turned into concern, and by the next day, into panic. There was no incoming traffic, and the mistways were rendered fearfully unstable. Citizens flocked to the stores, seeking provisions in case the imprisonment, as it is now known, should last more than a few days. Police records show an increase in crimes, but the city was relatively calm, assuming the state of affairs to be temporary. In the early hours of July 5th, a massive riot was sparked off by morning fog. Ancient Eurasians had mistaken mundane weather for a new onslaught by the mists. Rumors began flying that all Eurasia was doomed, and a wave of poor citizens from Blackchapel began breaking out of the borough, allegedly to seek shelter in the Temple of Divine Form. Whatever their intention, it was not long before Riverside and the king's quarters were swamped with desperate, hungry folk. A state of emergency was declared on the Parliament Hill, and with the aid of the temple, emergency provisions were gathered and supplied to the needy. The mistways resumed functioning by July 11th, but the city was unprepared for its sudden dependence upon imports of food. A week after the imprisonment, the first crops had been planted in the city parks. These rations, however, were pitifully meager, and riots erupted continuously over the next few weeks. Wealthier citizens took the opportunity to migrate to the core, while food prices rose. The riots soon died out, but the class tensions remained at an all-time high. The appearance of Bloody Jack and the revelation of Doppelgangers' existence caused a national uproar. Comparisons were made to the Great Fire, and the idea arose that another change was due in government. The aristocrats could have avoided the surely fatal blunder of reining in the complaints by force, but they were themselves in disarray and caught up in fierce internal power struggles. Paridon now needed an educated society, which would be able to design innovative new products, make scientific breakthroughs, and invoke the envy and attract the currency of its technological rivals. The University of Paridon was at the forefront of this shift in thinking, and it turned to far-thinking politicians and sympathetic lodges for aid in promoting its plans. The movement was nicknamed the Quiet Revolution by suspicious nobles, and the name has stuck. In 747, the courts officially declared dead those lost in the mists, settling at a pen-stroke many inheritance cases and lawsuits. On the 10th anniversary of the upheaval, a memorial was erected on the hill, and the island of Georgia was officially no more. A fountain with an ever-burning flame was dedicated to the lost compatriots of 740. And now, my dear listeners, let me shed some light on one of the most fiercely protected secrets, on doppelganger existence and their way of life. Doppelganger society lies cloaked within the human one. It is evidently organized to advance two goals: to protect their grandmaster and to maximize internal competition. Each imposter has a niche in human society that said imposter is skilled in inhabiting. A niche's status among humans will frequently reflect a doppelganger's rank in their own society. Each doppelganger holds a rank among its own kind, dictating its place in a long chain of command, and each doppelganger strives to increase its rank by pursuing tasks for its clan and engineering the demotion of competitors. Infighting is common and often spills over into the lives of their human alter egos, such as merchants viciously competing in trade or pair or feuding families. Doppelganger clans are extended families, each clan being assigned to a certain class of niches and duties. Some clans are entrusted with securing assets that protect their race's security, such as infiltration of the police force or political party. Historically, doppelgangers appear to have had an egalitarian society, in which clans worked together with shared goals to ensure secrecy and prosperity. Some centuries ago, this changed radically, and now the clans war against each other, attempting to counter each other's schemes and gain personal power. The influence of clans waxes and wanes over the years, and within the clans, individuals squabble for influence and status, eagerly stabbing each other in the back in the hope of one day being the clan leader. One of the many ways of Eurasians to combat doppelgangers are quests for a diversity of skills by the general public, believing doppelgangers, although able actors, are unlikely to attain mastery of other practiced talents. Fearful citizens adopt artistic hobbies they hope might make them harder to replace. Doppelgangers have their own power structure. The highest rank in the imposter society is Grandmaster. The Grandmaster is the oldest and wisest of his kind, whose orders supersede those of any less rank. It is unacceptable to question the Grandmaster, let alone to disobey him. Directly below the Grandmaster are the Vanguard. The Vanguard are the only doppelgangers permitted to directly seek out the Grandmaster. All others see their leader only at the Grandmaster's invitation. The Vanguard act as the Grandmaster's agent, ensuring his plans are followed and his will obeyed. All Vanguard are granted desirable positions in human society and are handpicked by the Grandmaster himself. There are no more than 6 Vanguard at any time. Beneath the Vanguard are the clan leaders. Each clan leader is issued a list of niches by a Vanguard and is responsible for distributing these niches among his clan. This clan leader is permitted to govern his clan as he sees fit, provided that he does not disobey orders from above. And finally, my excited listeners, I will share my findings on the Dark Lord of this domain, the one hiding behind the persona of Bloody Jack. Soto originally belonged to a clan of doppelgangers on a distant world. Soto, his fellow clan members, and his city were drawn onto Ravenloft when he committed a horrific crime, even by doppelganger standards. In a series of carefully arranged accidents, Soto killed all the doppelgangers in his clan who were older than himself. After disposing of all the clan leaders, Soto killed the clan leader himself, hid the body, and assumed the leader's most common form. When confronted by suspicious younger members of his clan, Soto used his mimicry to assume the natural form of the doppelganger elder, adding extra creases under his eyes like the aged clan leader. Normally, a doppelganger is not able to mimic another doppelganger's true form, but Soto had a magical help, a head of disguise. When Soto and the city of Paridon were drawn into Ravenloft, Soto was rewarded with the ability to mimic any humanoid shape. At the same time, he was cursed to be forever shifting that shape. Soto can hold a single shape for mere moments, and when he is calm, he can hold a shape for a full minute. But when he is agitated or excited, he flickers from shape to shape every 2 or 3 seconds. Soto's curse is also a blessing. The Domain Lord is addicted to the terror and agony of violent death. He must feed on this fear regularly or suffer unbearable pain himself, and to experience the pain and terror he craves, Soto must touch his victims. Reversely, his touch eases pain and restores life to death. As a result, Soto is able to experience only a fragmentary moment of his victim's pain before his touch offers soothing release. To overcome this difficulty, Soto commissioned a powerful wizard to provide him with a magical item specifically tailored to his needs. The wizard presented Soto with the Fang of the Nosferatu, a magical knife capable of drawing victims' pain and terror and transmitting it to the person wielding the blade. As a side effect, the knife also drains blood from its victim. The Fang of Nosferatu has one even greater power. Used in a particular fashion, it can bestow 13 years of invulnerability on its wielder. To perform its function, the magical knife must claim 6 victims on consecutive nights, and the murders must be committed at the stroke of midnight. Thank you so much for your time, patient listeners. Paridon is a city of great danger and ambition, and I hope for our paths to cross at its market. But for now, as always, be careful while crossing the mists.